Track wrestling here in Wichita, Kansas on the eve of the NAIA Championships with Baker coach Cody Garcia. Your role is interesting. You're coaching the women's team and the men's team, correct?
I am, yeah. You know, this is, and actually we just had our first high school state championship in Kansas on the girls' side last week. It was cool to see. You know, I think I was talking to somebody last week about it. It's like my whole life I've always talked about wrestling being the least discriminative, sport out there, right? And this whole time, we were really limiting ourselves and kind of the impact it can make on people. So yeah, we're off and running. We've already signed 10 for next year. We're just at a good place with it, right? I think that's a good energy with the sport, and we were able to grow our staff, and some of our resources within Baker. And I think as we move forward, working on a new wrestling room that is going to be able to support, 2 programs. Again, you got one of the best non-Division I coaching staffs in the country. I'm very blessed to, be in a good area, right? I got Kansas City right there and Lawrence right there. So, Coach Venegas, Coach Rogers, Coach Duncan, Coach Hughes, Coach Addy, Coach May, right? Being able to bring him back, that's been huge. I just can build into that staff and make sure that we're giving this crew right here all the resources they need to have success.
How have your responsibilities changed since you've taken on women's coaching too, and how do you balance it?
Yeah, I think it goes back to that, right? Having the right coaches around you, right? People that care about this group. I think when you have that and we have a good understanding of what our brand is and kind of how we want to represent it, how we want to make sure we're serving this group, I think it makes it easier, right? I may be doing more things, but I still want to make sure if I'm going to do something, right, I want to do a really good job at it. I didn't want to get to the point where I was spinning a bunch of plates and struggling. So I think I've been able to delegate a little more, and again, that comes with trust of having great assistants. So that's been a big part of it. And again, having the women's program kind of helped us build into our staff, and we've done a great job of bringing in the right people to help with that. As far as my daily stuff, right, it's pretty similar. I don't think my role doesn't change in any capacity. I think no matter what I'm doing, I'm trying to serve them to my best ability, and I think the more the merrier, right? If we can get 2 programs that are self-sufficient and doing the right things and making an impact on campus, and that's a good thing.
Starting a women's program, what are the biggest challenges with starting a women's program right now?
Honestly, the recruiting's a little bit different. You look at on the men's side, right? I think guys are a little more, honestly, probably a little more egotistical, right? Like they don't think about things as much. When you're trying to build a program on the men's side, kind of that's an exciting thing, right? The guys can be like, oh man, I don't care what's going on around me, I can make this happen. On the women's side, getting our traction was a little bit challenging. I think that when you bring a recruit on campus, if you don't have other young ladies there to help you out, it makes a difference. So that's even from kind of the challenge we've had getting this thing going to now where we have girls on campus, and we bring, girls on, it makes it a lot easier, honestly. So now once we get that momentum, again, we're way ahead. We've signed 10 girls already for next year. I've only signed 4 guys. So I think that's the one thing that I'm learning a little bit is kind of the approach and kind of how that group kind of can help you. I mean, they're definitely our best recruiters, having that impact and connection to each other.
Are there any differences in what you look for in a recruit from the men's program to the women's program, or is it pretty similar?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, again, going back to our brand, right, I think we have a group that just loves wrestling. I think if you're passionate about it, you want to get better, you want to surround yourself with that. I think that's, it's easy to pick up on, right? If you go to that state tournament and I can see that energy, I can see that passion for the sport, I think, we got to trust in what we can do as a coaching staff, and that's the great thing about non-Division I wrestling. I think it's about development, I think in Division I, if you don't have elite blue chippers, right, you're going to struggle. Where us, and especially where we're at with women's wrestling, I think if we can find, people that are passionate about it, that want to get better, I think we can make that level jump in this division.
You mentioned at the top here, girls wrestling first state tournament in Kansas here a week ago. What has been the response to girls wrestling? How are you seeing it grow here in Kansas?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think just from, again, myself, I don't think I was a very good advocate in the beginning, right? Like when I was going through and when I was first coaching, it was kind of something on the back burner. But now that I see it and its impact, I mean, the whole state tournament, there was so much, it was a different energy. And even though I had nothing to do with it, I think there was a little bit of pride. You said, man, this is right. We did something right here. And this is, I walked out during their parade of state placers, and you could see all the banners with the young ladies on each banner, and it was just kind of overwhelming. And to some degree, it was like, man, this is really happening, and this is a win.
This team comes in ranked 5th. Lucas Lovvorn going for his 3rd NAIA national title. What has made him unique?
You know, he's just been a blessing too, right? I think, and Coach Nate used to always say, it's like sometimes all you can do is say thanks, right? And I think he's one. You know, man, we just been fortunate enough to be able to be along for the journey, and not only that, his impact on the rest of these guys. I think you'll see it, and you'll see the impact of what he's done here for years to come, right? As you see some of these young guys that are going to hopefully be in the lineup next year, some of the ones that we have here right now. I think that's where you see it. I think his approach has been exciting to watch, right? Something that I'm envious of. One thing that I wasn't very good at when I was a competitor is, sometimes in practice I'd tighten up, I'd make sure, I didn't like giving up takedowns, so I'd kind of shut things down and maybe didn't push that wall as much as he's, he'll open up, he'll try things. He's so aware of kind of where he's at, and he'll regardless of what's going on, he's a competitor. I think that's very commendable and exciting to watch. This year, regardless of the situation, what's going on, I think he's just confident and trusts his training, and at the end of the day, he's going to find a way to impose his will in 7 minutes.
Where do you feel his influence most on other guys on your team, and where will you feel it after he's gone?
Yeah, I think, just in the room, I think he's a coach in the room, and you want to see that out of your best guys. Hopefully I create a environment that's inviting to having these guys help each other. I think this is one year specifically that's been the case. I've done probably the least amount of coaching I've ever done this year, just because I know, this group, they know what they're doing, they know what they need. I'm just kind of there to kind of guide and direct and encourage, and outside of that, they kind of run the show. And his effort and attitude towards all that, I think, is kind of what you see in that too. Again, man, he's just a fun-loving kid to be around, right? Like you have him in the room, kind of just lightens everything up. And I think that's, people think it has to be this grind all the time, and he works hard. He works really, really, really hard, but he has fun with it. He enjoys it, and you can manipulate that word fun, and I think he's done a good job of that.
You mentioned in your role you're doing less coaching, more delegating.
Mm-hmm.
When you try to feel your way into this space and learn how to manage your roles now, is there anybody you lean on in particular? Anybody you've learned from that has helped you?
Yeah, I'm a byproduct of fortune. I think I've just been really lucky to be in some really good positions. Both my parents were coaches. Obviously, Coach Denny, is one that we get those daily Duke doses, every morning. So I get a text from him every day. I try to connect with him when I get a chance to, and I just kind of think back in a lot of things that maybe we did that I was like, why are we doing this? And you go, oh, okay. I get it now. So a lot of that, I think just kind of go back to say, okay, what, at the end of the day, I just got to love on these guys, right? If I put my passion, energy, and love into this sport and what I'm doing and how to serve them, I got to just trust that, if I'm doing all those things, then I'm coming from the right place, and hopefully that creates the results that we want to see.